Is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to some more World of Tanks as well. Just a quick discussion today. Do we think that the IS-7 is underpowered? It's been on my mind a lot recently. I used to thoroughly enjoy the IS-7, and you know, we've got some IS-7 gameplay here in the background, but the IS-7 was the first tier 10 tank that I ever earned. And it is, or at least for the most part, it used to be a beast. It used to be a heavy tank that you could definitely rely on. And now it just seems maybe not underpowered, but power creeped at least. Because the T110E5 has been buffed to the point where it's probably the best tier 10 heavy tank in the game. The Chieftain is very, very good as well. Not as good as the T110E5 simply because its armor doesn't hold up as good. But it's definitely a contender. But you could argue that the Chieftain is arguably the best tier 10 medium in the game rather than a heavy, because it's not really a heavy. It's just more like a medium tank. But the IS-7, I remember it as something completely different. And now it's a shadow of its former self. So, you know, how do you feel about it? Do you feel that the IS-7 is power creeped? Do you not? Do you agree? Disagree? I want to know your opinions, guys, so let me know in the comments section. But I feel like the IS-7 isn't the tank that it used to be, and it could use some sort of buff to make it competitive again. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really know how it could be buffed. This is the problem. I want to discuss it, but I don't really know what changes we could make to it to make it more competitive at tier 10 once again. Does it need to be buffed? Do you guys agree that it needs to be buffed? Or, you know, do you think that it's fine as it is and maybe I'm just talking shit? But I genuinely think, and I think a large majority of people who play the game currently think that the tank could use some sort of buff, and it has been power creeped from how it used to perform. Now it's just not as good as what it was before. And something needs to be done about that, in my opinion. Because the IS-7 lives and breathes what a heavy tank is. It's got really good armor, a very, very punchy gun, good penetration, is able to take shots like that from the STI, and when played correctly, it's an absolute monster. But just tanks like the T110E5 put this tank to shame nowadays, unfortunately. And it's a shame because the T110E5 was supposed to be the jack of all trades heavy tank, and now it does everything better than the actual heavy tanks around it. And it shouldn't be like that. But that's the current state of the game. That's how it is at the moment, and we just have to accept that. But is there something that we can do to the IS-7 to make it the heavy tank that it used to be? Similarly to, you know, it used to feel similar to an not feel similar to an E100, but you would consider the IS-7 a proper heavy tank. How you would consider the how you would consider the IS-4 and how you would consider the E100 to be a proper heavy tank. It just doesn't feel like that anymore, at least to me. In my opinion, it doesn't feel like that anymore. So, what can we do about that to make it feel like that again? To make it play how it should be played? Because this is a brawler. That's why I'm taking this position on Fisherman's Bay on this replay, because this is where you get stuck in to the brawl. You get in there and you maul everything, and you do what an IS-7 should do. But what changes can we make, or what changes need to be made? And lol at that Jaeger right there reversing into the river, or reversing into the lake just because he didn't want to get shot. But what can we do? What needs to be done? What needs to be changed? The reload time? Aim time? Perhaps an armor buff? Who knows? I want to hear your suggestions, guys. I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comments section, like I said earlier. But yeah, man, the IS-7, I pushed for this tank first because I knew I would like it. I knew I would like it, and that's why I wanted to have it as my first tier 10 tank. It was my first tier 10 tank. It was the first tier 10 tank that I earned. I thoroughly enjoyed the rest of the line, and it almost feels nowadays as if the T10 is a better option than the IS-7, despite the armor not being as good. I see a lot of good players choosing to play the T10 rather than the IS-7 because it has a slightly better gun, slightly better mobility, and I guess a lot of people choose to play that alongside mediums as well, which is always fun to do. The T10 is a beast. I agree that it is a beast, and it's great. It's a fun tank. But the IS-7, it just feels, I don't know, it's not as good before. It's not as good as it was before. You know what I'm saying? But some people still make it look good, and I like to think that I'm one of those people. I haven't played it in a while. This game was from last year. I just haven't used the replay. I just thought, you know, that's a decent game. Why not save it? And if I ever need to have a chat about the IS-7, this is the type of replay that I could use for it, just to, you know, just to stay on topic and to have the, you know, relevant tank going on in the background. So, nice penetration on the Conqueror's commander's hatch. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts on the IS-7. That's basically what this video and what the comment section of this video should be all about. Does it need... I mean, it has an 130mm gun. Does it need an alpha buff? Does it need that alpha buff just so that it packs more of a punch? Because you do hit in the 400s a lot. You don't really do 500, 600 damage rolls. At least I find that I don't do them that consistently. And surely that's what a 130mm gun should do. Because that's what the 130mm gun on the ISU-130 does. That's what the 130mm gun on the SU-100Y does. So surely this tank should be the same. Maybe it needs a slight alpha increase. Alpha damage increase to make it slightly more punchy, slightly more fearsome, and return to the former glory that it used to have as one of the best brawling tanks in the game. Whereas now, I feel like I could just hop into a T125, and despite doing less damage than an IS-7, I feel like I could just point my front at the enemy, and that's all I need to do. I don't need to sort of play tactically. You just have to point the front of your tank at the enemy, and you're a brawler tank. The IS-7 requires some sort of level of skill because you have to take in the pike nose. You know, you have to consider the pike nose and what angle you're presenting yourself to your opponents. Am I going to get a nice shot of this leopard here? Nah, that one just missed, unfortunately. But yeah, I feel like perhaps an alpha damage buff would do this tank a world of good. And I mean, the reload time is fine. It is an 130mm gun, so I can envision it taking that long to load a shell, and obviously the reload balances it out, but the reload doesn't... It needs, in my opinion, I think it needs a slight alpha damage buff just to make it more effective than it is now. And that would, you know, that would make it slightly more competitive. The IS-4 has an 122mm gun, so that has similar alpha to the IS-7, but if you gave the IS-7 a slight alpha buff because of the 130mm gun, that would make it more effective, and I think that would return it to its former glory as one of the best heavy / brawler tanks in the game. A very decent game in the background. We managed to pick up a first class mastery badge and a Confederate, as well as 5,300 damage. Just finishing second in behind our T110E4 on our team. But that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section, and I will catch you in the next video. I hope you all have a great day, and until next time, I'll catch you then. Peace out.